Hi, this is Michael Thompson from Zoe, and I want to welcome you to the Wednesday Morning Rescue. This is our weekly audio encouragement offered through Zoe's daily orientation. What you are about to listen to is an excerpt from the Men's Heart of a Warrior Conference or the Zoe Women's Deepening Weekend Retreat. It is our hope that your heart finds strength, beauty, and courage for the life God has called you to live in the larger story. It was C.S. Lewis who once wrote, "Relying on God has to begin all over again every day, as if nothing had yet been done." It is our prayer that this devotional brings an orientation to your heart, settling you and equipping you to play your part well in the great love story set in the midst of the fierce battle. Today, may you experience the love of God, learning how to walk with Him and live free. Gary, in his book, dials it down to 4 real big headlines. There's more, but I want to cover these 4. Call them the 4 Ds, if you will, of what the enemy's up to, what the enemy's trying to accomplish. 4 Ds. His tactics. First thing the enemy's trying to do is to distance you from your heart. I remember years ago, Gary, when you played the Monster.com commercial, that was in the lineup, where they're just kind of in a factory or a job that's just kind of punching things, right? To distance you from your heart. A good place to go for this level is the always and nevers. If you feel that come up from you, the always and the nevers, or the word hate. When you use the word hate, or your false self uses the word hate, kind of a ventriloquist kind of thing that it does, when it uses the word hate, you need to call time out. Time out. What is that about? Does the kingdom of God ever use the term hate? Maybe you can slide it in on sin. Maybe. But we have to look at the words that we use, the expressions and how we use them, the energy behind them. You have to pay attention to be fully alive and oriented in this. Always, never, hate. Another way the enemy will try to distance you is time away from God. What do we do on all these weekends? What's the centerpiece of these weekends? Time alone with God. And the enemy's going to do everything he can to distance you from God, and that's time away from God. And I'll tell you one of his favorite things with Christian men: ministry. Service to Him, not intimacy with Him, will distance you from your heart and your source of life, and you will become a casualty. Do you know what I mean? I'm not selling this, right? You guys know these are some of this. Okay. Distance. Whenever I'll show you, or I'll never, I'll always, or just this is not one of the D's, but just dismissing people. Pay attention to the harshness that can come and how it comes up and in you. That's what happened to me on Christmas tree. And it was out there, and it just got worse. Distance you. So whenever you feel that distance, your job is to close the distance and to get back as fast as possible into alignment with God. Distance. Busy is a great component of distancing you. Service, busyness. What do busyness and intimacy have to do with each other? Nothing. And these are the tactics that will distance you from your heart. Second D is diminish. And you're going to experience all 4 of these, by the way. It's not just hierarchical or level 1, all of them are good in a very, very bad way. Diminishment. I grew up in a family where athletics was part of our family, and it went from kind of playing ball and kicking ball with my dad in the yard to when you start playing for teams and you start trying out, right? Anything that your heart stepped into, that there were tryouts. I remember singing, trying to get into the Honor Boys choir in our city. It was a big deal. And I made it the first year. We went around, 40 of us. You know those choirs that sound like angels, you know, and sing in the malls and stuff. I was on that, uniforms and everything. The second year, you had to go back every year, and the second year I didn't make it. Wasn't picked. Talk about diminishing. And I don't remember anybody. I don't remember anybody saying, it's okay, your voice changed, you're becoming a man. You're not a boy. You can't be in the Honor Boys choir. Do you see how that could have changed things? Maybe. But diminishment. How's the enemy diminished you? Making teams, not making teams. Big thing we get into in diminishment is comparison. Comparison will make you ripe for diminishment. Right? What did Gary say earlier? When I look at Don's calling on his life and I want it to be mine, I'm comparing, and now he's here, right? And I'm here. And then I want to look around as soon as I can and find somebody that I can go here and they can be here. Now judgments are taking place in a reaction to diminishment. Well, I'm not as bad. Have you ever say this? I'm not as bad as... That's diminishing of somebody else. Do not sow that so that you will not reap that. And that is very, very important to understand how diminishment works. What the enemy is going to do is invite your false self to drag you into some crazy compromising moment. And then you're going to do it, and then he's going to blame you for doing it. He's going to invite you to do it, you compromise, and then he's going to bring a truckload of guilt and diminishment because you did it. And you've been to Top Gun, Heart of War how many times? I mean, you have to listen and pay attention to what they're selling. Do not subscribe to any new agreements. And they're going to use their old ones because it's easy for them. If the old ones work, they're just going to recycle them. Oh, they'll wait. They'll stay and wait a little while, but they're going to come back and see if you will succumb, you will fall, you will compromise to the old ways. Now, it'll look like a 40-year-old rather than a 14-year-old, but if they've got it into your system at 14, they're not going to reinvent the wheel. Diminishment. Lies through comparison. Like Gary said, the glory of another man's life never diminishes yours. And you've seen this. As you've got to see their stories and their journeys, you understand what the price they've had to pay to get there. You have a different story. You've got a different path. Thank you for listening to this week's Wednesday Morning Rescue, a part of Zoe's Daily Orientation. To sign up for the Daily Orientation, explore more information on Zoe's weekend retreats, or to order the book, The Heart of a Warrior, go to our website at www.zoe.org. That's www.zoweh.org.